It's time for devlog number 7, I think it is. And if things look different on your screen, it's because, well, I've spent a lot of time on some of the non-coding parts of making a game. In this case, working on a logo and an app icon. So this is what we have so far, and I went for a classic newspaper inspiration, since, it's a newspaper game. I googled newspaper logos and found out that a lot of them have this kind of black script type font. And then finally I noticed that a lot of them have like just a very simple graphic element that they use in their logos. So I chose to go with just a red dot. The sort of condensed version is just the red dot with the A and the F in white. And that'll be the app logo, or the app icon, sorry. Apart from that, I also have a website up now, abovethefoldgame.com. So far, there's an email list that you can sign up for, and I don't plan on sending out a whole lot of emails. But for major announcements such as like we're entering beta or games about to launch, that sort of thing, that's what the email list will be for. So if you want that kind of information, hop on over to abovethefoldgame.com and sign up for the email. Okay, so what about the game itself? What have I done? Well, apart from building a website and a logo, and I also reserved the app name on Steam, I have done a bunch of tweaks in the game itself. I know I like to say in these devlog videos that you probably won't notice much of a difference, and you might not, I don't know. A lot of the tweaks have been bugs that I have fixed, and just small improvements here and there. It's still so early in the game that there's a lot of stuff that'll need to be balanced as we go. Another thing that I've changed now is that you can assign a story, and then if you try to assign another story, before it would just say that the reporter was busy, but now you can actually replace stories. And it does affect the word count. Just demonstrate this again. Drag this over here. Word count is currently at 407. Replaced? Yes. Now it's at 4,100. So that was a better story in terms of word count. Just one more time. This is a story of 656 words. So let's try to assign that and see if the word count... Yep, and it is now 656. Which I probably left it at the 4,000 mark. So you can replace stories now. I've also updated the naming so that there's a lot more names to choose from. In the randomizer, also middle name initials. I've expanded that a little bit, little tiny tweaks like that. Oh yeah. If you publish in an issue of the newspaper and your reporter doesn't have a story assigned, so they basically just sat on their butt for a day and didn't do anything, you're actually going to lose a point of happiness right here. That's where that happens. All this is what happens if, at the time of deadline, the reporter has a story, but if they don't have a story, they just lose a point of happiness. And just as a quick reminder, what happiness does is, mouse over here, when you publish a story, the experience, in this case Michelle here has 6 years of experience, and her skill level, which is 13, those two values are combined. And of course combined with the importance score of the story that she's writing. And that together is sort of the maximum importance score that Michelle can get from writing that given story. Now, she's probably not going to make 100% because she despawned, so I'm going to just switch to Brandon here. Because that maximum score will be multiplied by her happiness factor. So in this case, the maximum score that Brandon can get from a story would be halved because he was only 50% happy. Like Clara here is 88% happy, so she's going to get a lot more out of her story. But if we don't publish any story, her happiness is going to go down. Currently, happiness is not displayed here. I'm probably going to fix that. Oh yeah, the deadline now is a timer here. Instead of a text counting down, it's like a health bar that counts down. So there's that change. Another change that I made, if you look over on this side of the sidebar here, you'll notice I can increase and decrease the game time. This simply shortens the hours, and you can see the deadline is ticking down much quicker now. Boink. Got to 0, and it publishes one original story with no words. So yeah, no score for that. Speaking of score, behind the scenes, you can't really see this, but behind the scenes I have now started tallying a total score for your game. So every issue, of course, has its own important score, and your total score for that game would be all of your issues' score combined, and that's just for future maybe leaderboard use or something like that. It's always good to have more data than less data. As you can tell, there's a lot to keep track of. A lot of little tiny things, little tiny tweaks. Made it so that you can now remove a story, of course. That is part of when you are replacing a story. You have to be able to remove a story. That is also part of a not yet completed feature of if you want to fire a reporter, any story that they are working on, of course, has to be removed from the current process. One last thing I will mention is I have started working on the next room, or the next sort of scene. What happens when you reach deadline? Currently, as you've seen, it's just a little pop-up on the screen that shows the issue, but this will eventually be the screen where you will get to organize your front page and determine which of the written stories is going to be prioritized, and that will also, of course, affect the outcome of each issue. So this part of the game is currently just a blank screen, but I have started sort of working on it a little bit. There's just not really anything to show yet. With that said, thank you for checking out devlog number 7 for the game formerly known as Paper Editor, but now called Above the Fold. Don't forget to check out AboveTheFoldGame.com, subscribe to the email list, follow the YouTube channel and the tweets and all that good stuff. Thank you once again for checking in.